Hello everyone and welcome back to Lotus Path Holistics. My name is Leonardo, and today I want to talk to you about the next spiritual life lesson in my video series, Overcoming Trauma. So what is trauma? What is trauma really? Trauma is defined in psychology as an emotional response to horrific events that are deeply distressing and also disturbing. But as a spiritual educator myself with 10 years of experience in the industry and also doing past life therapy, I can tell you that trauma is so much more complex than what we actually realize, and what it may seem is not usually what it is. Past life therapy itself is comparable to trauma therapy because the key gateways to your past lives are hidden behind that trauma. So trauma stands in the way of your spiritual progression, just as it stands in the way of all your progression in every single way that you function in your life. So in my years of experience, I've seen trauma from very many angles, and from what I understand, trauma actually is emotional scarring. It is energetic emotional scarring in the mind, body, and spirit. And trauma, actually, it happens when you have harmful, shocking, and damaging experiences in your lives. And when you have those experiences, they become memories. And as time passes by, those memories solidify and they stay in your energy, in your aura. And they end up to be tangles in your energy, blockages that end up these scarring energies on your aura and your soul. So those powerful memories from your trauma actually stay within us for several lifetimes. This is why past life therapy dives in deep and extracts all of that very well. In psychology, there are three main ways to categorize trauma: by intensity of the impact that it has in our lives. Number one is acute trauma. Acute trauma is the result of a single event of distress. Then there's number two, which is chronic trauma. And chronic trauma is the result of repeating or prolonged exposures to traumatic events in our lives. And then there's three, which is complex trauma. Complex trauma is the result of multiple traumatic events that actually stack onto one another and cause damage between. So as a clairvoyant practitioner myself, I have examined trauma and what it looks like energetically. And trauma many times takes the form of something that looks like a tangle of energy, and sometimes it's just a void, like a dark color of energy. And it's usually in the aura, in the chakras. But the most important thing about traumatic energy is what it feels like. It's very tight, it's very taxing, and it sort of sucks all the energy out of the soul. Like you have all this balance and you wonder where it's going. It's that subconscious trauma in your aura and your chakras in the mind. And it sits there and acts like a black hole and sucks everything in. So there are four types of trauma and abuse. And let me explain to you in succession what they actually are. Number one is the physical type of trauma. Physical trauma includes physical abuse, sexual abuse, sometimes losing your home, or maybe like a divorce in the family. Mental traumas have to do with watching abuse or having to witness horror in your life, lies and oppression with rules. Three, emotional trauma is actually, a lot about being fooled into normalizing abuse, almost like emotionally deceived. And neglect, ignorance, as well as grief over loss. And then there's four, which is the spiritual type of trauma. Spiritual trauma is when you become an abuser. And also when you have love lies in your relationships, there's cheating involved, and when someone disrespects your entire being and makes you feel worthless. So through understanding those four types of trauma and abuse, there are four ways and four healing methods to overcome trauma. These are the four focuses of overcoming the effects of trauma. Now, the first one, to counterbalance physical trauma, is about actually focusing on security, focusing on safety. And you want to seek security. And the ways you can do that is actually taking up a sport like martial arts, building your strength and your character through fitness, as well as maybe gardening. It's really like an earth type of healing method. And Feng Shui really helps, as well as sort of like a different type of sexual healing of the self. Sexual exploration, so you can, understand that you are sexually pure no matter what you've been through. Then the second focus that actually counterbalances the mental traumas in your life is clarity. You want to focus on clarity. You want to focus on truth and integrity. And seeking that clarity, things we can do are like journaling our feelings and emotions, but in a very thought-provoking way, maybe like a very logical way to know what's going on in your head. There's telling your story so that you can get together people and actually share your story, share what you've been through. And then just relaxing far away from home, so maybe a little mini vacation, getting away from the trauma of the places around you that remind you of triggers and different events that's happening in your life. Then the third thing that you should focus on is connected to emotional trauma, and you can fix that by seeking connection. Seeking connection is about getting involved in your community, finding friends, finding mates, finding people in your tribe, and getting out there and actually finding people just like you. And then fourth is about finding your purpose, which counterbalances your spiritual traumas. You got to find your purpose, your passion. Get more involved in spirituality, maybe spirituality in past life therapy, spirituality in energy healing. These things can bring you purpose and help you understand your purpose. It revitalizes your entire soul. You can also get educated, go to school, and try something new that you want to learn, as well as be creative with art and just do things to build your self-worth. So I hope that these tips help you understand that there are easy ways to start to overcome trauma. There are deeper ways as well, which we're going to discuss in our spiritual podcast on Friday at 6 p.m. So join me and Luna Dawn. We're going to discuss the ins and outs of trauma and abuse, and then how to overcome that in a spiritual way. We hope to see you there, and thanks for watching my video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. I look forward to talking with you guys on Facebook and furthermore.